Good morning and welcome to day three of the challenge. I'm so excited to have you here for this day in particular because it's a pivotal day. Today is the day that you let go of stories that are holding you back and decide to move forward and transform your life and your law practice into something that is really meaningful and joyful for you. How exciting is that? As a lawyer, we're told that we need to be tough. And in fact, one of my clients told me this week that she's tough because she was in big law and you have to be tough to survive that. And if you watch the TV program Suits, you know that it is a running theme in that program that lawyers are not supposed to show any weakness, no matter what. And so it's not really a big surprise that lawyers struggle with embracing the fact that we have some vulnerabilities and learning to fix those so we can live the life that we want. Everything that is holding you back right now is just a story. It's a story that maybe your parents told you about happiness, success, or money. Maybe it's a story that you learned from society or law school about your worth and your value and how far you could go. Or maybe it's a story that you've been telling yourself about what will hurt you, what not to do, and how to stay safe. Altogether, these are just stories, and you can decide to stop believing these stories and change them into something else that serves you. In the work of Byron Katie, a healer, she asks you to question your stories by asking, what is the story? How do I know this story is true? And what would I be, do, or have if I no longer believe the story? Now, as lawyers, we're all about evidence, so I want you to look for the evidence that the story is true. But if you don't find it, that means that you can release that story and replace it with something that suits you better now. For years, my ex husband told me the story that I was worthless without him, even though I built a six-figure business before I met him, and I helped him build his business to $1 million. It took me years to stop listening to that story and ask myself, is it true? And what the evidence was. And when I looked back on my life, I realized there were plenty of times when I had done extraordinary things that brought value to myself and the world, and the story wasn't true, that I could let it go along with the husband and lead a different life. Right now, there are so many stories going on in the world. We're at a point, at least in America, where there's a story every day about a woman being victimized, a person of color being victimized, how it's hard to succeed, people will take advantage of you. And just like on TV, those messages play in the background and you hear them and unconsciously respond to them. Just like when you're watching a horror film and you hear that tingly music in the background, it tells you you're now supposed to be afraid. Those stories are telling you that you maybe not as worthwhile and you don't have the value that you actually have. So this is the opportunity to challenge those stories, to ask yourself, are they true? What's the evidence? And if they're not true and there's no evidence, it's time for you to release those stories, let them go, and write a new story. You can use your magic wand to write a story that includes everything that you want in your life, and then make it so. You have the ability to do that. So, for today's lesson, what I'm asking you to do is become conscious of and observe the stories that you have been telling yourself, or that your family has been telling you, or that you've heard through the media or the legal community, and decide for yourself, do you want those stories to be your stories? And if the answer is no, that's the decision, right? You don't have to take another step. The action for today is just to observe the stories, decide if they're true, and then decide whether or not you want to take them. Figuring out what to do about the stories comes later. So I want you to be kind and gentle to yourself as you go through this process. Don't blame yourself for what you believed in the past because, as Maya Angelou tells us, when you know better, you can do better, right? And so now you are discovering that there's better waiting for you and that you can have it. So I want you to understand what's been holding you back and then decide to let it go. One of the tools that's really been helpful for me in this is reading books by Brené Brown. Her books are really inspirational and give you the courage to look at your life fully with a kind, open heart and make those changes. Another book that I've really enjoyed is all the books by Mel Robbins. Her 5-second rule has helped me get into action and forgive myself for the things I'm not doing, but also hold myself accountable for the things that I do want to do. So you might want to check out both those books. Today's assignment is going to be a little bit challenging, but hold yourself to the task. You will only benefit from knowing what is holding you back, embracing it, then deciding to let it go so that you can have the joy, the happiness, the success that you so richly deserve and want in the future. Don't forget that after you do your assignment, you need to post it in the Facebook group so I can see it, give you feedback, and you can share and inspire others. Looking forward to seeing you there. Have a great day.